Hey everybody, we're talking today about desire discrepancy and how to get your partner to be interested in having more sex with you. I'm Dr. Diane, board certified sexologist, and I help you combine medicine, science with the sexy stuff. I help you get less stress in your life so you can get the stress out of the boardroom and the passion back in the bedroom. So this topic on desire discrepancy, on how to get your partner to have more sex with you, is so potent that I just decided that I'm going to talk about this all month because we're talking about one very important strategy today. I'm going to give you specific tips to do in this video, and I'm going to follow this up all month with more videos on this particular topic because it's so important and there's so many people struggling where one partner wants to have sex, the other partner doesn't, and it creates this huge rift in the relationship, right? And neither partner in this situation tends to feel great about it. So it's such an important topic. So we're going to just talk about it all month. So go ahead and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any of that. So what we're talking about today is connected to the last video I made. The last video I made was on emotional closeness and some of the research that's shown that especially for women, there's this time period where when there's an emotional connection, the sex drive goes up. So if you want to know more about that time period, how long it lasts, how to create more of that, go watch that last video. In this video, we're going to build on from there. And what I want to talk about in this video is how to basically get out of the rut from an emotional standpoint, how to actually build that desire, how to build that closeness. And in doing so, what we're really getting you out of is like the boredom that couples get into even emotionally when the only thing they have to talk about are things like the job, the kids, and we just feel like we know each other physically, sexually, emotionally, when in fact we are all changing and evolving. And so oftentimes it's just that we don't have strategies for gaining that closeness, gaining that intimacy, and gaining that perspective back on better sex. So we're going to talk today about 10 questions to build this closeness. And the final questions in this video are going to be about sex. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to build that emotion through the closeness, through these questions, so that we can get to these questions about sex that are designed to celebrate the sex life, to build back that desire and that passion. So I encourage you to take notes on this, to go back and take notes later if you are, driving or that sort of thing. But again, the purpose of this, and I'll tell you the purpose of each of these questions, but I'm working to get you out of some of that rut of feeling like we always talk about the same thing, which actually leads and can impact sex drive because boredom does not tend to lead towards interest in sex, right? Putting you guys back on the same team, asking questions that you're both interested in. These kind of things really help with relationships and building that strength. So question 1 would be asking, what about our relationship are you most proud of? That really sets a tone about the relationship's strengths and helps to position the mind around like, oh, wow, look at all these good things. Question 2, what do we do really well together? The idea of doing this, of this question, is sharing successes, which is reinforcing you, is putting you back on the same team. Question 3, what is something you love about me that others miss? This can really help couples feel seen. If your partner is telling you that they love something that other people don't typically see in you, they don't notice that, it can really help soften people emotionally, which again, especially for women, can lead to more desire. Question 4, what are 3 things you and I have in common? Sometimes throughout relationships, right, we lose track of our shared values. We lose track of our bonds. So again, a question like this is designed to put you back on the same team. And I encourage you with questions like this to, not just think about the first thing that comes to your head. These work a lot better if you go deep. So for example, if like the question is, what are 3 things you and I have most in common? And the first thing that comes to mind is we both love our kids, right? That's not going to probably do a whole lot. But like deeper around, you're talking about kids, it could be like, We both share the same value around how we want to raise our kids with an emphasis on money and hard work and the values, in particular that you're instilling in your kid, right? So something like that has such much more depth to it. So it tends to bond people better. Question 5, how have you changed in the past year? How have I changed? Now, this is an important question, but it's also a setup question to talk about sex, because one of the most important things with sex and where people start losing their desire is they keep having sex in the same way, and bodies change, needs change, preferences change, right? And so we're starting to acknowledge emotionally, right, and interrelationally how we've changed to start building, in that reminder like, oh yeah, this is normal. Sex is going to change too. And our interest in sex as far as our desires, our passion. One of the reasons why, and we're going to talk about this later this month too, one of the reasons why many people have desire discrepancy is because their physical sensations are not the same, their turn-ons are not the same, their turn-offs are not the same, and they're having sex the same way, and it's not actually that interesting to their pleasure body anymore. And without talking about it, nobody knows. So we got to practice this. Question 6, what is your most treasured memory as a couple? We're bringing positive emotions. We're building bonds here. Number 7, what's your dream for what our life looks like together in 5 years, 15 years, 30 years? One huge thing about this particular question is it can really help foster security, right? That reminder of this is our plan to be together long term. This is what it looks like. That, especially for women, when that security is there, can help support desire. Question 8, and then we're going to get into the sex questions. Question 8 is, what things can I do to help you feel more supported? I find this can be a super useful one because it's not a question people ask oftentimes. And especially if you're able to deliver on those things, if you ask this question and then you're able to show up that way for your partner, that can help so much. Overwhelm, especially for women, is one of the hugest things that kills the sex drive. And so helping a woman and a partner feel more supported can go so far as sex and desire. Question 9, what's the one thing you'd like to try in the bedroom that you're nervous about bringing up? So now we're in the sexy questions. And when you are doing these questions, here's where stuff can go wrong. So if we respond to somebody, if I say, what's the number one thing you'd like to try in the bedroom that you're nervous to bring up? And let's say I ask my partner that and he brings it up. And let's say I respond back with well, that's weird, or I do something that's shaming to him. Well, forget about bringing that up ever again, right? Because somebody that is shamed when they're being vulnerable is going to learn a lesson really quick. So we want to talk about how to bring that up. We're going to talk about that in other videos this month. So again, make sure you do subscribe because this is the focus this month. Question 10, what is the best sex you and I have ever had and what made it so good? You can see probably the value in this question because it's taking you back on your sex journey and you're celebrating what you're so great at. And the more details you can give on this question, the better. So tap back into your memory bank as far as you can. And it's hard, of course, if wow, your best sex experience, your memory was a decade ago or more, for example. It can be hard to remember the exacts. But if you're able to pull the memory, there's got to be something that you're able to be specific about. So be specific. That's really giving that helping with that bond, right? So the biggest thing, the final thing to mention here is make sure you practice this with curiosity. The reason for practicing this with curiosity is that when you are curious about this, one of the things that it is doing is it's helping prevent shame. So I'm going to talk about that more in next video. But again, you want to make sure that if your partner is sharing something vulnerable, we are really careful not to shame them. because that can make them shut down even more. And as we build this emotional bond and we really help to ask these questions to create more of that, oftentimes that is a key part of making desire go up. Now, it is not the only part that makes desire go up. Desire is so multifactorial, especially for women. So I'm going to talk more about desire discrepancy and how to help your partner have more sex with you in a way that they want to. All right, everybody, please do subscribe. I'll see you again soon.